I'm going.
I understand where you're going.
So what's the problem with preaching prosperity?
First and foremost, one should ask, who's the one that prospered from the message? It's never the people. It's always the preacher.
That's
The gospel and money, balancing the message. Pastor Gino is absolutely right that Jesus' primary message was the gospel, the good news of salvation through faith in him. Sharing this message, as Jesus instructed in Mark 16:15, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature, is a core responsibility for Christians. However, the relationship between the gospel and money is more nuanced than a simple either-or proposition.
right. Poor, not having. So if somebody, but you understand where I'm going.
I
Right?
understand where you're going.
So what's the problem with preaching prosperity?
First and foremost, one should ask, who's the one that prospered from the message? It's never the people. It's always the preacher.
That's deep.
They buy his cars. They pay his rent. They buy his houses. They buy his planes. They buy his yacht. The people don't prosper. The preachers put the people on a guilt trip, and they make it
Just like psychology.
just, that's all it is. It's religious psychology, religious propaganda. And they put the people on such a guilt trip that make them believe if you don't give an X amount of money, you won't be blessed of God, or God won't bless you. I don't want to serve a God that if I don't have no money, he can't do nothing for me. I don't believe God is that incompetent. And I know God is not incompetent at all. So the prosperity plan, the only ones that have prospered and will prosper is the preacher. Look at Creflo Dollar. He said the Lord told him, get a plane. The congregation raised $65 million and bought him a plane.
So you don't think God preached to him, that gave him that message?
Go get a job and go to work.
I asked him, but you don't. So
No.
let me before we go, because we're gonna stay on. We got a lot of stuff because
Yeah.
I went to what. So
Here's a deeper dive with scriptural references. The gospel's emphasis, spiritual over material. Jesus prioritizes spiritual matters over earthly possessions. In Matthew 6:25-34, he teaches against anxiety about material needs and encourages trust in God's provision. Freely received, freely given. Jesus offered healing and forgiveness freely, demonstrating the unconditional nature of God's grace. In Matthew 10:8, he instructs his disciples, freely you have received, freely give. This emphasizes generosity and service over financial gain, love and compassion. The core of the gospel message is love for God and neighbor. This often translates into helping the poor, marginalized, and those in need. Luke 14:13-14.
Tyler Perry, Chris, all these guys, right? If they came to your church,
If they come in, they would come like anybody else. Take a seat, and after service, when I'm done teaching, I get a chance to greet you. Would I give you special privileges? No.
huh?
You're not better.
Even
than
if they gave you $1 million,
I wouldn't. Number one, if they gave me $1 million, I wouldn't accept it.
get out of here.
Tyler Perry,
On behalf of the church.
I wouldn't let the church accept it. The scripture says this: he that gather riches and not by right dies a fool. If you're a drug dealer,
But that's not by right. I mean, the man just. I mean, he's not. I've never known them guys to be drug dealers. I mean,
let me make an example.
Okay, make an example.
Nuance of money. While avoiding a focus on materialism is crucial, the Bible doesn't condemn money itself. It acknowledges its importance in meeting basic needs and supporting ministry. Luke 10:7-8. The laborer deserves his wages. Eat and drink what they provide, for the laborer deserves his wages. Jesus acknowledges the need for financial support for those who preach the gospel. 1 Corinthians 9:14. The Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should get their living from the gospel. Paul affirms the right of ministers to receive financial support. Philippians 4:15-19. Even in Thessalonica you sent me an offering for my needs once and again. I lack nothing because I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Paul emphasizes contentment in all circumstances, including financial situations. Finding the balance. So how do we reconcile the centrality of the gospel with the realities of money? Here are some key points. Focus on the gospel. Our primary message should always be the good news of Jesus Christ. Practice responsible stewardship. We should manage our finances wisely and avoid materialism. Recognize the needs of ministry. Supporting those who dedicate themselves to spreading the gospel is important. Maintain contentment. We should trust in God's provision and find peace regardless of our financial situation. My views. Preaching the gospel should primarily focus on sharing the message of salvation, forgiveness, and hope found in Jesus Christ. Addressing financial issues can be relevant within the broader context of the gospel, emphasizing responsible stewardship, generosity, and avoiding materialism. The specific approach to finances may vary depending on the context and ministry focus. Some ministries may have fundraising needs, while others may operate on volunteer support. Maintaining a clear focus on the spiritual message while acknowledging the practical realities of ministry finances is crucial. Let us hear your view in the comments box. Remember, this is just one perspective, and further discussion and exploration of Scripture are always encouraged. Don't miss out on future uplifting messages. Hit that subscribe button and join the BE Hopeful community. Thank you for watching.